Hey guys, this week's discussion was Gestalt psychology and psychoanalysis. A couple of takeaways that I have are number one, I thought it was interesting that Freud's psychoanalytic theory didn't develop until many, many years into his career as both a psychiatrist and a physician, and that originally he was, his theories were grounded in purely in physiology and biology, and so it was like a quantum leap for him to develop this purely subjective, difficult to replicate or study type theory to the workings of the human mind. I never knew that before. I never really thought about how that developed. So I think Bridget was talking about how the idea of unconscious defense mechanisms of the ego and the structure of personality were critical building blocks, I think, to the eventual development of contemporary psychology, and also were, I think, pretty ingenious insights into the inner workings of the human mind. So, like, regardless of your opinion on Freud, I think that we have to admit that the unconscious mind is an undeniable aspect to us as humans, and to not account for it would be to settle for an incomplete psychology. So I think he definitely that piece of his theory was definitely important because it contributed those ideas that regardless of whether or not he was right about this or right about it, wrong about that, the fundamental idea I think is important, and definitely is still being applied to widely accepted contemporary psychological theory. So I never really thought of Freud as a developmental psychologist, but Danielle brought up that point, and so in that sense, his work has had a long-lasting impact on modern psychology, and in a very pragmatic way. I think that developmental psychologists do some of the most important work in the field, in the sense that they are, seeking to understand and to facilitate proper and healthy development in children, and creating healthy and well-adjusted, well-balanced adults. So I really thought about it like that. I think my main takeaway from this unit was that this idea that both Gestalt psychology and psychoanalysis provided a much needed alternative opposing view to what behaviorism was doing. It seems to me like this is sort of a natural process in terms of how theories are developed. So there's an original idea that's put forth, and then there's an opposing idea, and then somewhere along the line there's some type of synthesis that creates a new and improved idea that takes from the original too. So in this case, the synthesis would be sort of this reasonable balance between objective science and subjective phenomena that we see in contemporary psychology today. So good discussion. Peace out.